The reading is from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Let us be attentive.
At that time, a lawyer stood up to put Jesus to the test, saying, "Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" He said to him, "What is written in the law? How do you read?" And he answered, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." And he said to him, "You have answered right. Do this and you will live." But he, desiring to justify himself, said to Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among robbers, who stripped him and beat him and departed, leaving him half dead. Now by chance a priest was going down the road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. So likewise a Levite, who, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where he was. And when he saw him, he had compassion and went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he set him on his own beast and brought him to an inn and took care of him. And the next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, 'Take care of him, and whatever more you spend, I will repay you when I come back.' Which of these 3 do you think proved neighbor to the man who fell among the robbers?" He said, "The one who showed mercy on him." And Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise."
Peace be unto you, proclaims the good news of the gospel. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. Good morning, everyone. Kalimeras. I was excited this morning that I had to pull out a winter coat that I've only worn, I think, twice since I moved to Houston 7 years ago, 7.5 years ago. I love this weather. It's cold, it's crisp, but the sun is still shining. Who can beat it? It put me in a great mood beginning last evening and through now because of the weather. But that was a continuation of a great mood that I've been in. It's been a great ending to this last week. And this last week ended beautifully for me because I was given an opportunity to have a reorientation of my thought process of what was important and what was not. Where am I going with this? The middle of the week, it was brutal. It was brutal. Now, whether one finds themselves on one end of the political spectrum or the other, every American should be humiliated by the experience that we're almost a week after our midterm elections, and we still don't even know who's won what. It's a joke. It's third world. It's Banana Republic. It's the stuff that we used to make fun of when we'd read about it in other places. And now, it's our reality. And I have to tell you, more so than either elation or disappointment from my own party of political support, just this sense of humiliation came over me in the middle of the week. And I found myself going down the toilet bowl of despair where I was staring at my damn phone for hours a day, checking to see if there were updates to say, please tell me this isn't happening in the United States of America. Because I've always taken great pride that I'm an American and that we're somewhere better, somewhere that these things don't happen. And I just couldn't believe it. I wanted to bury my head somewhere in the sand and say, this can't be happening here, not where I'm from, not the place that saved the world, not once but twice in the last century, not the place that built a country upon principles of virtue, life, liberty, freedom, unlike ever experienced anywhere else before, to such an extent. It can't be happening here. And then, as I found myself staring at my phone, looking for updates, feeling a sense of despair that now we're a banana republic, it took a sitcom actress to wake me up. Deborah Barone from Everybody Loves Raymond, the actress, Patricia Heaton, put out some kind of a statement that ended up coming through some news feed that I have that said, as Christians, we know that we find our security in God and in God alone. And I had to pause. The first question was, did I just get set straight by a sitcom actress? A priest? And it took a sitcom actress to straighten me out? And the second question was, now what do I do after having been straightened out by a sitcom actress? I said, I need to seek some wisdom here. Because obviously I must be on the wrong track if I'm allowing my whole life to get torpedoed because of the new Banana Republic experience that we have in the United States. So seeking wisdom, I opened up, of course, the ultimate source of wisdom, the Bible. I made a commitment to read the entire book of Psalms daily for at least 40 days. And it's amazing how when we choose to join ourselves to Christ, that when we seek His wisdom, things get better. All of a sudden, my mood changed. The way I interacted with people changed. My neck wasn't sore anymore because it wasn't crooked like this, looking at my phone for updates. All of a sudden, the second half of the week was great. I limited myself on how much I was going to check on these types of things, but I did not put a limit. I put a minimum in terms of how often I would be joining myself to Christ. A minimum of reading of the book of Psalms every day. And I share this because this is something that each and every one of us, whether it's in a crazy week like this, whether it's in response to political structures, whether it's in response to difficulties in our families, to something that's taking place in our work environments or in our schools, or even in our churches. The answer, first and foremost, is always to rejoin ourselves to God. If we can't do that, if we don't have enough common sense to first rejoin ourselves to God before we try to dive in and impact political things, before we try to interact better in our household with our spouse or with our kids or with those in-laws that drive us crazy, but we still love them. Before we try to be a better boss or a better coworker or a better employee, before we try to be a better classmate or teammate or community member in a church, if we're not first committed vehemently to being together with God, then we don't deserve to be an active member of a society. We don't deserve to be an active, influential member of a family. We really don't deserve to be impactful in our places of work or in school or on our teams or in our churches. If we aren't first and foremost rooted in togetherness with Jesus Christ, then the rest of it is a big bag of you-know-what. Yeah, the world's crazy today. And I'm not saying don't pay attention, and I'm not saying don't dive and make an impact. We need to. We need to do it politically because now, as you've heard me say so many times before, and if you have any critical thinking skills, you already understand this, issues of basic morality have now been turned political so that the evil one can win and twist people away from God. Oh yeah, we need to get involved politically as Christians, not as partisans. Our families, they're broken. 50% divorce rate in the United States, that's been holding steady. The only thing that's changed over the last 2 years, people are getting married in the first place. Families are breaking apart. Work. I remember when my father taught me you're supposed to have loyalty to the company that you work for, only to find out that they don't have any loyalty towards you. Schools? Anyone pay attention when our kids had to stay home and do Zoom classes? We promote the partisans in schools. We don't support the actual educators. It's a joke. Sports? Don't get me started. As a former athlete, I don't even watch anymore. It's disgusting what we call sports and the environment and culture of sports today. Oh yeah, the world's a mess. But perhaps the reason why the world is a mess is because you and I stopped seeking God first. And so we allowed this to take place. It's very easy to point towards the infamous they. They did this, they've done that, they ruined this, and they ruined that. But they would never have the ability to do these things if you and I were first joined to Christ and weren't afraid to open our mouths. And so the lesson today is very, very simple. Make God first. Make God first. Not simply in a rhetorical or philosophical way in your mind, but build some discipline into your life to seek God daily. Read a book, read a chapter of Scripture every single day. Make sure that you're carving out time to pray. And then when you enter into these different categories of your lives, as I do, always look through the lens of perception of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And if you can't look through the gospel and accept what you see on the other end, do something about it. Change the way that you act in your family. Change the way that you act at work, at school, on your sports teams, in church, and how we hold our political elites accountable. But until you and I make the choice of God comes number one, there's no chance. It's done. Put a fork in it. So the choice is ours. Don't get caught up in despair. The devil's hoping for that. He wants us to look around, see the madness, and say, what's the point? And just go bury our heads in the sand. But if you and I, if the true believing Christians of this world commit or recommit on a daily basis to making God first and using Him as our lens of perception, things will turn around swiftly. Families will be healthy once again. Society's institutions will be trusted once again. Sports will be watchable once again. Church communities will be obsessed with joining and helping other people join themselves to Jesus Christ again, rather than alternate agendas. So the choice is ours. My prayer is that after having been healed, edified, strengthened, and set right by this divine liturgy, that we choose to go transform the world beginning this afternoon. It took a sitcom actress to set this priest right midweek. My prayer is that this divine liturgy sets us all right today. May God be with us. The choice is ours. So it's good to have Father Dimitri around. Focus on God first, as Father Dimitri does, and life's better. And life is better. Allow me just to make a couple of quick announcements before I invite Father John out to distribute the Endideron to everyone. First and foremost, it has been 365 days since our beloved John Regas became Deacon John Regas. Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of Deacon John's ordination. First ordination that I participated in as a proestamino of a parish, and it was a complete honor to see someone who was so central to the life of a community for so long take up the calling of Jesus Christ and go through our archdiocesan program to prepare himself to ultimately be ordained. As we remember, 1 year ago, Metropolitan Tarasios came to be with us and ordained John, now Deacon John, to the major orders of the church. I can share with you just a couple of reflections. Having Deacon John in this role at St. Basil's has been a phenomenal asset, not only to me personally as the parish priest, but to our entire community. It has been very humbling to witness his dedication, the amount of time, the amount of effort, and most importantly, the amount of prayers that he has spilled into this community over the last year as a deacon. Our hospital and shut-in visitations have doubled in numbers over the last year because he takes his role as a deacon seriously. His liturgical presence has grown much faster than I anticipated, and much faster than someone in their first year of ordained ministry typically experiences, to the point that it's been recognized by our archdiocese and its diaconal program. And several months ago, Deacon John was asked to take a leadership role in the archdiocesan diaconate program that he just graduated from a little over a year ago. And so now, not only is he serving as a deacon at St. Basil's, but he's helping other men who have felt the calling to the holy priesthood or to the diaconate to navigate that system as well. And so please, he's over there in the back of the church pretending like he's not listening. Now he just left, because he's going to teach Sunday school. When you see him, let him know how much he's appreciated. Please, give him a hug, shake his hand, send him a note. Let him know how much he's appreciated, because he's added a phenomenal amount to the Christian experience of St. Basil's in just the last year, and I look forward to seeing it only grow exponentially from there. In the same light, I want to share what was foreshadowed in the past, but now we are on the schedule that for our parish feast day, which is on a Sunday coming up in less than 2 months, that we're going to have Bishop Constantine, our new bishop, who's the assistant to Metropolitan Isaiah, will be with us here at St. Basil's. As far as I'm aware, this will be, of course, his first time being together with us as a hierarch. He's been with us as a priest on a couple of occasions, but as a hierarch, but the first time celebrating with us on our parish feast, of course. And so we look forward to our preparations to be able to receive him well and celebrate with the hierarch on our feast day. A little foreshadowing down the road. So with that being said, I invite Father John to please come out and to distribute the Andívaron to us. Please come forward as normal, receive that blessing, and go about your day in peace. May the good Lord be with us this day and always. Oh, excuse me. While you're still seated and Father John is out here. The first day that we experienced a little bit of cold weather is a day that we should look to those boxes that we see in the narthex. There's one in the church office, and there's also one when we enter into the hall. Now, our community responded beautifully when, across the month of October, we did a food drive. We had multiple 1,000 pounds worth of food donated through St. Basil's. On top of that, cash donations to go to feed the hungry in our local area. This was a 1-month effort, and it was phenomenally successful. We far surpassed our goals. Now, we know that doing philanthropy is not extra credit for us as Christians. It's core. And so as Christians, we are going to continue this effort of having these types of drives. Our current drive is One Warm Coat, where our Philoptos is working together with local agencies to identify people that are in need, that as we're starting to have a little bit of chilly weather, that they don't have jackets. Could you imagine that? Not having a jacket. Well, St. Basil imagined it over 1,600 years ago when he told the Christians at that time, if you have an extra jacket in your closet, it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the homeless person that doesn't have one. And so him being our patron saint, can we please respond? Go buy a jacket. Next time you're at the store, if you're at Ross or TJ Maxx or Burlington, or if you go to Dillard's or Nordstrom Rack, I don't care. Get a nice jacket. Don't pull the one out of your closet that's filled with holes and moths. Get a new one and bring it down here to St. Basil's and stick it in one of those boxes over the next month so that they can be distributed to people who don't have a warm coat this winter. And as I always share, I'll never ask you to do something that I don't do myself. I'll be putting jackets in there. So may the good Lord be with us. May he bless our efforts. And may we be willing to be good stewards of his grace. Father John, please distribute the Andívaron. God bless.